Hello, welcome to my social thread. My name is Gabriel. This is Ani, my sister, my mother.
Hello. Hi, I'm the mother. My name's Crystal. So today is day 8 of Vlogmas, and I'm joined, as Gabriel's announced, Gabriel, who is my second oldest son or third youngest son, and Anya, who is my second youngest daughter. And we are going to start off with opening our advent calendars. Right, girls, boys, which one? So for this is the 1 second, Kylie machine.
Going down, apparently.
So Kylie machine is a countdown, so we're going down. Should be 18 now, no? Is it 18, guys? Sienna?
17, because you've done 18.
Did we do 18
Yeah,
already?
we did, don't we?
I don't
18
know.
isn't here.
So there's definitely not an 18, so it must be 17. So 17, let's show the 17. I know, we're going to go the other way.
Stained glass window, it looks
The
like.
stained glass window, number 17. Right, Annie. Well, let Gabriel open it. Gabriel.
Yeah. How does this?
Wait, no. Pop that. I'm trying to pull it up.
I can't, I don't have the
This is
nails.
now, should I do?
It's okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
What is it, Gabriel?
Labels.
Labels. Oh, these are different.
These ones are really pretty.
So it's it goes the other way. So I don't even know what it says. That was tricky. So it's a long label, but it is read this way, and it says that was tricky. Now that's very different. I've not seen Kylie's designs ever that are similar to this. That doesn't make sense, that sentence, but you know what I mean. So bright blue, kind of, it's that kind of cut off fabric, safety pin, and then it says that was tricky. So you get 2 of those. Put them up, Anya. Excellent. Next box. Gabriel, which one should we go for next?
That one.
What's this
What
one
is it
called? Do you remember?
again? It's called
Godmother's.
Godmother's
Fabric Godmother's fabric.
Sorry.
Fabric Godmother. Are we day number 8? Day number 8. Show day number 8, Gabriel. Day number 8 is this one right here.
Money.
Pop it. What's the thing?
And we have to read what's inside. Let's see what it's inside. So
That
it
means it's
says.
going to be needles, probably.
No, I think it's all pins. The picture
No.
is. Oh no, so that's
Some
true.
are threads.
Stabilize the inside of your seam allowance with a thin strip of interfacing before inserting a zip.
Everyone has to
Oh, so you're gonna feel it and see
feel
what it
it
is.
and see it off.
Hey, it feels like a piece of paper.
It feels like a piece of paper, right? Anya, you have a go.
Oh, I know, it's a zip. And then really, it's not a zip.
Does it feel like?
Paper.
It feels like cardboard.
Feels like cardboard. So it's a square piece of cardboard. So I'm going to be very hopeful, and I'm going to say it's a PDF pattern again, because last time we had
Can me
something
and
like
Gabriel
this.
Open it. Can
Open
we
it.
all open one side
Oh, let's have a look.
Jeez.
Wow, £10 gift voucher for Fabric Godmother. I'm super excited about that one. £10 gift voucher for Fabric Godmother. Enter your exclusive code at checkout. I love that. That's like the best thing ever. £10. What will I spend? What will I buy? So thank you very much for that one. Just to say also, one of my viewers did mention that the pins that I was quite disappointed about, Fabric Godmother pins, I think is the brand is Bohin. It's a French brand, and apparently they're couture pins, and the brand is totally lost on me. But apparently one of my viewers was watching Rachel from Stitched Up, and she said they were quite expensive couture pins. So that's that one. So very happy about that one. Thank you. And then Beyond the Pink Door.
Oh,
Beyond,
I thought it was by the pink door.
Behind.
Beyond the Pink
I
Door.
thought it was behind.
Right, open it. So we're box number 8.
8.
Show them box number bag number 8. It's the orange stripy one.
And the
Oh, let's try and feel.
candles, smelling things.
They do quite smell nice.
Oh, it's separated. Oh,
You broke it.
I thought they felt like bobbins, but they're like a couple of individual. I don't know. It's plastic, and they're shaped. It almost reminds me about, you know, when children had the sort of children's makeup sets, and they come in little plastic like butterflies and
can we
things,
open
and
it?
with little dash. What do you think, Buzz? Guess. That's what it feels like. Obviously, it's not going to be that.
It smells sweet. Of the perfume sweet.
Oh, it could be like a smelly
Yeah,
thing.
it's
Hold
a
on, like a
perfume
candle
thing,
or
it's a
something.
perfume
Oh, I
thing.
know. What, there's wax melts that are very
wait.
popular. Wax melts.
Okay.
Okay, wait. Come on.
Open.
Put it onto the table. Pour it into the table.
It
was
is.
They
right.
are wax
Oh,
melts.
they look so cute.
So, Wax Hero from Best Wax Melts Online.com. Orange Clove.
Can I try?
So it's that one there. Shall we
Can I
open it and
open it?
smell it? Well, where's the opening?
I think it's under.
Yeah. Wait.
So you assume melt them?
So you can melt
You
them.
melt them and
But
then
actually, we
it'll
don't
make
have
the
a
house
wax melter.
I do.
Do
It's
you?
upstairs.
You just burn it with the candle one.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, you do.
You've got one in your
I've
room?
got one.
Yeah.
The metal one that I got. What shape are
But actually, they are so perfumed that
colour.
even if you put it, I mean, you'd have to put it in a
see what
small
shape
room.
it is?
Even if you put it in a small room just out, it will actually perfume the
Mummy,
room.
look, so it's like stockings
The children just noticed and they opened it. They're shaped in little Christmas shape.
and this one's a present.
So we've got a
Oh.
Christmas
that's
tree.
upside
What have you
down.
got?
Santa
Santa.
Oh, I thought the other way
And
around.
what's that
A
one?
stocking.
Stocking. And Annie, what do you
And
have?
a
And a present.
present.
They
What
almost
is that?
feel like chocolates.
That's exactly what I
Very
They smell like
nice.
sweets.
So, how are we going to rank them today? So, my first place, I'm sure you can
it's
guess.
this
My
one.
first place is
Oh.
the Fabric Godmother £10 gift voucher. Super excited about that. My second place will have to be, where are the labels gone? Did I put them? Oh, my second place will have to be
Labels.
the labels from Kylie and the Machines, and third place will have to be the wax melts. And the reason is well, I don't really have to give a reason, but I don't really use wax melts. They are nice, but Anya's just told me she's got a wax melter thing,
Yeah,
so she
yeah,
could use them. But remember, you don't use them in your room by yourself. You have to always
Yeah.
give it to Mama, or you use it in
We'll
open
put it
space.
downstairs.
Because anything with candles,
Yeah.
yes. Okay.
How do you put the candle on the bottom?
What break?
Oh, Grandma has lots of candles. We can put them on the
Yes.
bottom.
All right, children, that's it. That's the first portion. Advent calendar's done. See you later, helpers.
Wait, I need to
Can we
tell
make
you
this
our
one so
ranking.
You can
On
bring-
our ranking.
Oh, we did. Your ranking. What's your ranking?
I like this one favourite.
That's first. Yeah.
And then this one.
Yep.
Then this.
How about you, Gabriel? Was it the same as I know your
Yes,
ranking?
same.
Oh, excellent. All right then, children. Thank you so much. Sienna, could you put these two away from me? Oh, maybe. What can I buy, Sienna? I'm so excited. £10 off. Should we? If I leave it out, I'll remind myself to buy something. And can you put those away, please? And could you close the door for Mama? You can stay in the room if you want to, but just close the door. So second part of the vlog normally is sewing progress. Sienna Benner, could you pass me some of these things? Just the bodice piece, maybe. Is that bodice piece? Yep. Progress I have. So for those of you that have been watching, my next project is a Nina Lee Bakerloo dress for my daughter Sienna. I originally made one in a size 14 for myself, and I cut it out. I printed it out on A0 from Jenny Stitches Fabrics. Sorry. And I cut it out to a size 14 because I have put on a bit of weight recently, and it was quite big on me. And so I ordered another A0 printout of the pattern for my daughter because she'd be a smaller size than me, so I could cut it out. But then last night I was kind of feeling a bit, you know, like when you're feeling like you really want to sew, but I didn't have anything ready. So I had to look at my Nina Lee pattern that I had already cut out, the size 14. And what was nice, Sienna, pass me the pattern piece, please. And what was nice about the Nina Lee pattern pieces is that sometimes patterns, what's nice about it is from the size that I had cut, all of the lines were still intact for the smaller sizes. So I literally just cut out one or two sizes, I can't remember, 1 or 2 sizes off to get the smaller size, which is quite nice. I know with some patterns, sometimes sort of the bodice or the arms, they kind of overlap each other. So once you've cut out one size, you can't really then use it again unless you sort of draw on new lines. So that was quite good. So I had to look at it yesterday at all the pattern pieces, and all of them I could still see the existing lines for the smaller sizes. So I cut them all out to the smaller size, and I cut out the fabric as well for Sienna. So this is the back bodice piece. That's cut in two because you have the way you get into a dress is a back opening, as it were, like a, I don't know what they're called, like a back vent with a little rouleau loop and button. And I've cut the bodice front and back on the bias, and then everything else straight. So you've got sort of that different use of the pattern of the fabric. So that's ready, all ready and cut. Thank you, Sienna. I've got the case here. I'm not sure where the thing is. Must just be somewhere. And I'm going to make a start on that tonight, hopefully. And what else? I have also placed my order with Jenny Stitches Fabrics. So as I say, as a brand ambassador, every time I finish a project with her and submit my blog post, I do get a £30 voucher in return, in recognition of the time and effort put into making the garment, which is great. So I had £30 to spend. I ended up spending about £50. So I got the A0 Bakerloo printout, and that was like £4.50 for 2 sheets. I got a bottle of Fray Check, one of these Prim Fray Checks, which I use for buttonholes. So if you, I mean, for that, you know, you put it on the buttonhole before you cut it out, and it just stabilizes the buttonhole and it prevents fraying. And I was hoping to get one of these in one of my advent calendar boxes, which I haven't, but I really needed one, so I got one of those. I also bought some organic soft sweatshirting in a dusky pink with sort of like splatters of paint. I got 2.5 meters of that for my daughter, my eldest daughter Talia. So she liked Sienna's Tabitha drawstring dress, the long sleeve one that I showed you yesterday. She already has one actually of her own, but she would like another one, so I bought that fabric for her. And I also bought some black ribbon for the waist. I normally do use drawstring, but Jenny didn't have any drawstring that matched what I wanted, and so I bought the ribbon. And ribbon is more than perfect. It's, you know, it does the job well. So sewing wise, that is it. What else am I talking about sewing wise? Oh yeah, so I have just I do subscribe to Sew Hayley Jane's luxury box. The other subscriptions I subscribe to are Beyond the Pink Door, their Think Pink box, and then 2 boxes from Little Miss So and So, the quilting and patchworking club. So that's for Sienna. And then also as a brand ambassador, I get the All Set to Sew kit for free, but I upgraded mine on my own accord to the luxury box, so I get the choices of the luxury fabrics. And I had to pay, well, I pay every month an extra £15 on top of the free box that I do get. So basically, all in all, my subscriptions, the monthly cost that I pay for every month in terms of subscriptions is 65, 30, 90, 100, 120. So the £15 on the All Set to Sew luxury kit, £20 for Sienna, £35 for Beyond the Pink Door plus postage and packaging, and then £65 for Sew Hayley Jane including postage and packaging. So that's about £125 a month, which is, I think, is a lot of money. I mean, it is a lot of money. So what I've decided going forward, I am going to stay with Sew Hayley Jane and Beyond the Pink Door until December, and then I'm going to cancel my subscription or suspend my subscription from January onwards. And the reason being is I love these boxes. They are very exciting to open, and it is content for my vlog, but I find that I've not actually used any of the fabric that I've received from either of the boxes. I get a spool of thread as well. I get the fabric, fat quarters. The fat quarters, we have used some of them from the Sew Hayley Jane box for Anya's quilting, but in terms of the fabric, I haven't used any of them. That's not to say that I don't like any of the fabric. It's just that I have so much fabric already, and I've kind of prioritized fabric that I have a plan for, rather than, you know what I mean. And so for me, I think that's a lot of money of me just sort of storing away fabric and thread and fabric quarters, which I'm not going to use in the immediate future. So that's why I've decided for that. In terms of the patchwork and quilting subscription box, I am going to continue that because it's technically a 12-month subscription, but that is due to finish in March. So I'll continue that for 3 more months. And in March, I believe, is when all the 12 quilting blocks will be finished, and then Sienna will then put it all together to make this amazing quilt, which is really, really amazing. You want to show it quickly?
And this
Anya just wanted to show her wax melt thing. So
Gabriel's got all the candles.
And Gabriel's got all the candles.
We'll have to use them, Mum.
And where are you going to use it?
Downstairs in the-
Use it on the sideboard downstairs, okay? No playing with the
Island or
candles. Sideboard. Or island. Use island as well. That'll keep them busy for a while. Close the door, please. And also the So Luxurious All Set to Sew kit, the £15 a month extra, I'm going to keep those 2, so I'll only have outgoing of £35 a month in terms of sewing related material, which I think is more than enough, because obviously I still do buy fabric and patterns and everything else, generally speaking, for the projects I want to do. And I really, anyway, so I just thought I'd let you know that. And that was it really. So portion number 3, or part 3 of the vlog, is life and family chat again. And I think this is going to be the last day I speak about sort of my solicitor days. And I think yesterday I stopped, I ended talking about my my first ever trial. And today I wanted to talk about another trial that I did, which is slightly different. It's called a Newton trial, Newton, and a Newton trial is basically a trial, a mini trial within a trial. So bear with me, sorry. So for example, if a defendant is charged with 3 different charges, so they're charged, but they have like 3 different parts of the charge. So for example, the defendant is charged with assault, and the points of the charge, what is it called, the details of the charge are, you know, he slapped his girlfriend, he pushed her, and he hit her with a bat, say, for example. So those are the 3 charges. In order to plead guilty to that, you have to accept all those 3 charges as it stands. If, for example, and then you would plead guilty. If you don't accept any of the charges, then you plead not guilty and you go to trial. If you accept all of the charges, you plead guilty, and if the evidence is there, of course, you plead guilty and you get sentenced. So now there are cases where, for example, you only accept 2 of those charges within the general charge. So say, for example, he accepts slapping his girlfriend and hitting her with a bat, but he doesn't accept pushing her, for example. I mean, these are obviously very frivolous details, but I'm just making this up for your benefit. So if he doesn't accept a small portion of the charge, what you can have is you can plead guilty to the other 2, but you have a mini trial just for the one charge that you don't agree with. And that's what's called the Newton trial. So I am loosely basing this on an actual trial that I did do. So the defendant it was an assault on his wife or his girlfriend, and there were 3 charges, and one of which he did not accept. So I believe it was sort of punching her in the face, pushing her, and something else like hitting her with something, and he didn't agree. Let's just say, for example, he didn't agree with punching her in the face, but he agreed with the other two charges, and so we had a Newton trial on the charge of punching her in the face only. So basically the process would still be exactly the same as a trial, but it would only be for that point only, the punching of the face, whether or not he did punch her in the face, and whether or not the evidence shows beyond a reasonable doubt that he did punch her in the face. And so that was one of my other trials that I did. I won that one as well, actually. And that was a bit more scary in a sense for me, because again, I was so junior, I was so young. Everybody else, sort of all the other solicitors behind me, were all quite senior or quite well experienced. Again, as I say, there's a public viewing gallery as well, family members, all sorts, law students, whoever want to come in and sit, they sit there as well. Then you have the jailers, the clerks, blah blah blah. So there's a lot of people watching. So anyway, in this trial, the way I managed to win it was actually not by my skill. Well, you know, my skill did contribute to it, but it was the victim, the victim of the offence, or the alleged victim of the offence. She said, you know, Mr. So-and-so, who's my client, the defendant, you know, punched me, slapped me, and pushed me. And there was a big part in her evidence where when the police came after this alleged assault, the police statements read that she wasn't fraught, she wasn't, you know, disheveled, she wasn't shaking, she wasn't angry or upset. It was just, you know, they'd come as a result of a call for domestic violence of some sort. But she was actually fine. I mean, obviously, you know, you can be abused mentally and physically and still be okay, but this particular, you know, alleged victim was just playing with her son in the living room, and the police never recorded anything in their statement to say that she was, you know, that she had been punched in the face, that there was any red bruising or anything to her face. So that was very good, especially because the statement had come from a police officer, and obviously police officer statements are thought of quite highly, unless of course you can show that there is a chink in their in their not liability, in their, you know what I mean, in their, that there is a reason to disbelieve what they're saying, for example. And then the second point was, she said she went to she visited the hospital afterwards to get treatment for this punch in the face. And then I started to panic, because at that point in the trial, you have all the information, you have all the police statements, medical records, everything is right in front of you. And so on the stand, she's mentioning to her lawyer, who's the prosecutor, so the prosecutor is examining her. And she said, yes, I went to the hospital. I have, I saw so-and-so, and, I was treated for so-and-so. And I'm like, hang on a second, I don't have this hospital record. And so funnily enough, neither did the prosecutor have this hospital record, which is really bizarre that they brought it up, because you wouldn't bring up a hospital visit if you had no hospital record, because there's nothing to corroborate what the alleged victim has said. So anyway, in cross-examination, which is after the prosecution asks their question of their client, I then cross-examine them. So I then try out what they've said and see whether or not they can be, their answer will fluctuate. I then said to them, that's the first that I've heard that you went to visit the hospital. Where are the hospital records? And she said she didn't have any hospital records. So that was a second blow to her case. And essentially the magistrates at the time, was it magistrates or was it a district judge? I'm not quite sure. And they found in favour of my client for that particular charge. So then he was found not guilty of the punching in the face, but he had already accepted guilt for the pushing and the hitting with something else. So then it goes to sentencing just for those two charges alone, and the third charge is dropped. So that's what essentially is a Newton trial. So that was that one. And then I had quite a few other, they're mainly sort of assaults, that sort of thing. That's the trials that I did. In terms of more serious offences like murder and armed robbery, I was never senior enough to lead those cases, and also those cases go to the Crown Court. So it would normally be a barrister, and then the solicitors would be assisting or helping, prep. So I did just assist in prep work for that. So that's really interesting. Armed robbery, really interesting. And then what was the other thing I wanted to say? Oh, just quickly, with the difference between magistrates and a district judge. So in the magistrates court, you either have 3 magistrates or 1 district judge. The 1 district judge is a qualified lawyer, and normally in order to apply for a district judge role, you need to have had 10 years post-qualification experience. And I believe you kind of have to be invited as well to be a judge. Like, you can't just apply on its own merits. Like, you have to apply, but you kind of have to be invited as well. So that's what the district judge is. So they obviously know all the legal ins and outs. They know sentencing processes, trial processes, everything else. But they also have a clerk that sits in front of them that helps them along if they need the help. With regards to magistrates, though, for example, you get 3 magistrates, and they're almost the equivalent of a jury in that they are not legally qualified. So they're 3 sort of normal people, like normal people of the community, and all they need in order to be a magistrate is to obviously have no criminal records, to be of good standing, and to be able to have the time to allot to magistrates court work. And so and that's why there's 3 of them, because you, like with the jury, there's sort of 3 opinions that go towards I guess judging whether a person is guilty or not guilty. But the most important thing is, as they're not legally qualified, obviously they would have gained experience over the time of being a magistrate, but the clerk is the most important person in that regard. So the clerk is actually a legally qualified lawyer or barrister, and they actually get paid quite a lot, the clerks that sit there, and they literally know all the knowledge. They can regurgitate all the law, they can tell you what needs to be done, they can tell you what evidence to disregard, they can tell you what sentencing parameters there are. So the clerk is the number 1 best friend of the magistrates, because they help the magistrates decide sort of what sentence to give and whether it's a guilty plea or a not guilty plea. So that's that. And then the last thing I wanted to say about this is previous convictions. So now this really gets to me, because in court, when previous convictions, so the jury or the judge doesn't have the list of previous convictions of the defendant until they are found guilty or not guilty and sentencing comes along. Now, I suppose the reason for that is that the defendant needs to be tried on this crime alone without it being what's the word, not incriminated, without it being affected by their previous convictions. So say, for example, somebody might have, done something, 10 years ago when they were a teenager. It doesn't mean that when they're 25 and they've changed a new leaf, that they've done the same thing again. It doesn't mean that. On the converse, it could mean very well that because they've done it in the past, they most likely would have done this crime as well that they're alleged to have done. And so what the courts have done is they don't allow you to see the previous convictions until sentencing. Obviously, the lawyers for the defendant sees those previous convictions, but they don't mention that at all. They're not allowed to mention it anyway until sentencing. And I find that quite incredulous, really, because obviously as a jury or as a magistrate, you are just seeing this defendant as a person you've never met before. He's been charged with so-and-so, and you base it purely on the evidence that's there, which is fair enough. And then the funny thing is, if they are found guilty for that particular matter and they go for sentencing, so you do your mitigating circumstances for your defendant, saying, he's trying to change his life around, he is terribly sorry, he regrets what he's done, he's showing remorse, blah, blah, blah. And then you have to give the previous convictions to the magistrates or the district judge and the jury. If in the Crown Court, the jury. And then most of these defendants have sheets and sheets, and it's all the same. It's robbery, ABH, burglary, assault, and it's all there. And then you obviously see the jury just sort of shaking their heads thinking, we knew it, we knew you did it, kind of thing. And I suppose that's just how the legal system works. Like, they don't want they don't want the defendants to be discriminated against by their past. But then in the same ranking, it is kind of a punch in the gut if, for example, the guy is found not guilty and then the previous convictions are there, and it's probably more than likely he did do it. I mean, I don't know, not all the time, but probably more than likely that he did do it. And so that's just how things go. I remember in the Crown Court, we had an armed robbery, and it's actually it's quite vicious crime. So armed robbery is obviously robbery armed with an offensive weapon, and they had guns and knives. Armed robbery. I can't remember whether it was of a shop or something. They were found guilty, and then it was adjourned for pre-sentencing reports. And after every hearing, you would go down to the cells to visit your client just to go over what's happened, for that particular hearing. And when he's found, I remember this one client that we had, he was found guilty. So myself, as I was representing the solicitors at the time, and our barrister, we all went down to the jail. And our client, he's probably quite young, he's probably like 22 or something. The same age as I was, pretty much. Well, yeah, the same age as I was. And he said, "I'm really sorry, you've been found guilty. There are rights of appeal." So you kind of go through their rights of appeal. And then he just looks at at our barrister. So barrister's sitting next to me, and he was just like, "Do you want me to tell you what really happened now?" And you just think, goodness me, So these, some of these defendants, especially repeat offenders, they know how the system works. They know if the evidence isn't completely against them, they will go for a not guilty trial as much as possible. And then in the end, when they're found guilty, they know very well that they deserve the sentence that they get, because, as I say, the rap sheet for them is so long and it's the same offence over and over again. But what can you do? As I say, as a lawyer, as a barrister, you can only defend your client as far as his instructions go. If his instructions are, look, I'm not guilty, and if the evidence supports that, then you go with that. Obviously, if the evidence supports a guilty plea and he doesn't go for that, then you withdraw. But that's just the name of the game, isn't it? And that's it, really. 28 minutes. I'm under time. I think that's all I have to speak about now with regards to my law degree. Perhaps tomorrow I can just talk about how I went from criminal practice to private practice. So when I got married and I was finally expecting my first baby, I decided that criminal practice just wasn't the best sort of area of law to be in, and so I then moved on to private practice for a couple of years before then sort of dying out just to like a consultancy stage that I'm at now. And that's it really. Tomorrow advent calendars again opening. So what's the date today? So it's the 8th today because so it's the 7th today actually, so I'm recording this the day before. But tomorrow, or today for you, the 8th of December, Thursday the 8th of December, is Anya's 8th birthday. So I will probably talk about that tomorrow. So it'll be a day late for you. So we're just wrapping up presents, figuring out what cake to bake. I said, do you want to bake cake or a bought cake? And just sort of finalizing the details. We're not having a party as such. It's just, you know, presents and cake and going out for a little bit as well. So I can talk to you about that tomorrow. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all your comments. I do try to answer to all of the comments as soon as I get them. If there are any comments that, anyway, please do comment below, and please spread the word. If you are enjoying my content, please let your sewing buddies know. The more the merrier. Thank you so much also for my subscribers. I think I'm at 2,000 something now, which is really, really amazing for me, because it's less than a year when I started. So thank you so much, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye.